Alright, hello to all my guys, gals, and non-binary pals out there across the electrical ocean. This is Jazzman back with a game. We've got Markus422 over here playing full faction Iron Fist. And over here we've got Okolukus playing full faction Underdepths. And I was hesitant about recording this game just because of Okko's reputation. Didn't want to have to sleep through so many of his turns, but we'll see. He seems to be playing at a reasonable pace in the early parts of this game. But meanwhile, over here from Markus, he actually deployed his Tinkerer towards mid, so he's going to be down a font compared to Okko, who actually shadow spawned a informant into that mid font here with the Priestess. I was kind of hoping he'd go for Markus's top font. I mean, there's nothing up there, right? It's a free font, basically. At the very least, he could have deployed it ambiguously due to shadow spawn. But, maybe he just wants to take an aggressive posture here. Versus, of course, Constructs. Their late game is immaculate. They have pretty much everything they need to snowball. So I think Okko here is probably going to try and end the game quickly. If he has any brains rattling around in that skull of his. Okay, there's a champion for Markus going up top. So I guess the Tinker here was just trying to reinforce that Purger for the buffs. Complex machine. Maybe the Tinker was all he could afford at the moment. And the Nisk going to capture that font. He will be behind in Nora, but the addition of the Tinker will help to reinforce a bit with the crabs coming in, and then the ranks of tough that he can get down early. And then meanwhile for Okko over here, the Imp Alchemist is nicely positioned. I always like deploying flying champs or stuff with leap towards the bottom font on this map. It can get over these cliffs. No problem, or they could alternatively harass bot side if they want, or top side if you're over here. But anything that can get over the cliffs is definitely a good champion to deploy second for those fonts. But there's a Pit Dragon for Okko, and Pit Dragon, he took the max rank of Blood Frenzy too, so it's going to be a pretty terrifying Pit Dragon if Markus doesn't one-round it. But Priestess just doing a little bit of magic attack poke here, and that Informant I would assume is sort of, hanging around, waiting for its opportunity to mark something for death. But assuming the Relocate Demon sticks around, that Pit Dragon is going to be right up in Markus's face pretty soon. It's on cooldown now, but I mean, relocating a Pit Dragon in for a double tack is definitely something Markus wants to play around. So he just does a ranged Flame Strike for the moment. He went with Charge as well, which is nice because Charge and Clamp combo together. So you can charge into something, and then it triggers Clamp on that charged attack. So grants the Aura for a little bit of extra damage, and the Priestess is in double attack range. I don't feel like a kill's going to come in, though. Like even in the position that the Informant is here, which was discovered, actually, thanks to the Aura. Oh, he can actually... Oh, so he has Call of the Hunter upgraded, right. So he can relocate that Pit Dragon in for a hit if he wants. Actually, depending on where it will go, I'm assuming it'll go here, like the top space of the champion's base will go here. So he can't actually get in for a hit. You would have to back off with the Priestess first, and then move back with the Informant so that the Pit Dragon would relocate in front. Because, of course, relocation priority, the top left square is the first space that it gets relocated to, and then top right, and then bottom, and then, yeah, you guys already know this. But Pit Dragon going to get the action potion here. So Imp Alchemist using all of its AP to boost that Pit Dragon up. Then promptly gets relocated, of course. So he's going to be able to get just one hit, because Rage Potion does cost 1 AP to use. But Informant for 2 hits, actually, and Deepal Priestess, she can't quite get one. She's one space off here. But I would think, like, at this point, a price of victory might be worth it, because you would get 2 hits with Pit Dragon, like, it would be a kill on the Purger. And, I mean, Markus would just have the Tinker just sitting around to contest that mid-font. He'd probably drop a Relic, though, honestly, at that point, and then just, back off, wait for his reinforcements. But Altar Votive, that's an odd choice. It's basically, I think I discussed it before, but it's basically half a banner, and then the passive on itself is really kind of just bad. But, +1 damage is whatever. See if it's enough to get a kill here. He does a mandate as well. He really wants that Purger dead. At this point, Nora-wise, it just would have been better to do a price of victory. Save a bit of Nora there, but I was going to say the banner. The altar will be kicking around to further boost his champions in the long term. So the crabs goes in, I would assume, for a hit, and then, just to get in the way. And then Tinker could maybe, contest here. Ooh, an Earthshaker. All right, so that's going to deal a bit of damage. Did Priestess... Oh, yeah, Priestess didn't even get the kill with that mandate. The Poison DOT actually got the kill, so she didn't even heal up. That's going to be a pretty big investment for not as much gain here for Okko. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that wasn't worth it at all. I mean, he got the kill, of course, but if he loses the Priestess here and the mandate, that's going to be quite a sore blow. And this destroys. I mean, it does work on summons, so he could maybe get this kill on the crab and then make it worth it. But I mean, on 7 HP, odds are Okko is probably just going to sack it or something. And recoup. I mean, at that point, though, he's down, 2 spells, plus the Altar Nora he invested. And depending on what he has left, he might not have a deploy at mid. But we'll see. Oh yeah, the Earthshaker can test anyway. What am I talking about? So Priestess goes down. Was that a... Wait, how did it die? Loses... Oh yeah, to the Blade of the Snake. It lost 5 life. Okay, so that was nice. So yeah, Okko is down the mandate there, and a champion. Pretty rough for him, honestly. And now these lumbering guys are getting blocked by the barrier. I forgot that Blade of the Snake did that. It's 5 HP loss every turn. I was thinking about Hate Leech at that point, which does basically a similar thing, except it's 6 HP. But Blade of the Snake does have that downside, and that was an unfortunate turn of events there for Okko. So we'll see what he can do to recover. He has to hit that barricade with the Pit Dragon, because Informant with its 13 damage is not enough. What does he have on Fault Breaker? He has Heavy Charge and Charge. Boring. I'd rather go the Fractured Lands upgrade. I think that's too good to pass up. But I mean, Heavy Charge. It's the cheap build. It gets work done. I mean, Fault Breaker is really just exactly what its flavor text describes. A shock trooper creating chaos, right? He just dives into the midst of action and makes a real mess of things. Breaks apart opponents' positioning and forces them to divert more resources than they would like into dealing with him. Because despite having Vul Magic, in Constructs he really gets a lot of bonus tankiness from the Tough, from all the healing that Constructs can put out. And the vulnerability, I mean, with 2 defense, it's not as bad as it would seem. So, and then of course against physical damage here, like this Pit Dragon and the Informant, it's going to be very difficult for Okko to deal with. And meanwhile, up top, we have Nisk just, chilling. He's eyeballing that font over there, looking about how he could go about contesting it. Not this turn, but on the following turn for sure. And, he could sort of help out mid with the shield throw as well. And maybe even grant the crabs a shield, a Valdekai shield. That'd be a terrible idea. But the crabs are, again, getting in the way, just like the barricade was. And Okko could get a charge here. It wouldn't be quite enough to finish. He'd get, 23? Yeah, and the Grant Aura wouldn't be enough, because it only does 6. Would be, again, another 1 HP champion versus Underdepths. Not advisable. And the Nephrite Guardian here, I'm assuming he's going to try and guard that Pit Dragon, but it kind of has negative, reduced synergy with Blood Frenzy, because you want your Pit Dragon to be low, and then you want to bodyguard it after it's low, so that it has, 30 damage to wreck some face with, and then under the protection. But Shield Throw was actually in range from Nisk here, so that finishes off the Informant. So that's another kill for Markus. He is not at all intimidated about Okko's early killing of the Purger. He has kind of a comfortable game. I think I would have preferred, if not the price of victory, just having the Imp drop a potion mid and then threaten bot side font for contest. Not necessarily go in there, but basically force Markus to deploy over there and have that thing fly around, threatening to get in the font. Because now, I mean, in a mosh pit style mid-font fight, just straight up fight, he's going to lose, because Constructs, he has Fault Breaker, right, and Constructs are just way too tanky. for you to plow through willy-nilly, like Underdepths tends to do. But with that shield throw, of course, it does prevent Nisk from getting in the font next turn. Now, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He can drop a relic, though, which I'm assuming Markus might try and do. He has Banner down, so he could drop, like, he has Banner and Earthshaker, I guess. The only other thing would maybe be a guard tower, but it's a little, I don't know. I'd probably consider it, to be honest. At this point, like, you're already winning mid. You can justify, like, the 35 Nora guard tower in the font, even though guard tower is something you'd really want around your other forces for Battle Master. But Akko anticipates that and deploys a Maxeric over there. I really doubt Maxeric is going to pay off at this point. He doesn't seem to be in a position to get many kills. And yeah, opposing real champion. So he won't get like a proc off that summon death. So Pit Dragon cleans up a little bit in mid, getting rid of the summon and the relic. But now he's got to face the Fault Breaker. He's got to face the Fists of Fault Breaker. And the Imp goes straight for the Tinker. I don't know about that. He's just going to get gunned down by Gargoyle over here. So we got the Battle of the Titans here in mid. There's no way Pit Dragon wins that 1v1, but you could maybe... Let's see, what could he do to help him win that? There's no, like, alt attack granting equip in Underdepths as far as I know. I guess the closest thing would be Scepter of Onus for, like, Radiant Blow, but, I mean, at that point, it's like you're giving a CD2 attack to a Pit Dragon, and there's no way he chews through that Fault Breaker in enough time to make it worth it. And then you could also do Sheol's Firebow, though. Like, Pit Dragon having a ranged attack at plus damage is pretty nice. And then maybe if Markus gets careless with his Tinker, you could maybe suss out a kill there from 5 range, but at that point you're basically playing into Markus making mistakes, which is never a good thing to rely on. So Imp takes a hit, Fault Breaker kind of torn between hitting Pit Dragon and hitting the Imp. Of course he goes to hit the Imp, because why would you want to put, Pit Dragon under Blood Frenzy? But Imp down to 18. And we see a Grant Aura there. Markus being careful not to trigger that Blood Frenzy, but prematurely, so that the Bodyguard protection doesn't take effect. Then the boost comes in from the newly deployed Engineer, so Fault Breaker at 75 HP with Tough 2. That is a pain in the butt. I mean, I wouldn't want to face this as Underdepths. Like, shit. What are you going to do here? You got Maxeric chilling in the back, just awaiting the inevitable. He looks hella bored. He looks like, man, this is the incompetent force I've got to work with. Why did you have to do this to me, Akko? Why are you making me suffer like this? And he's got Nisk in his face. So he has to send Nephrite Guardian over to help deal with that. Thankfully for Akko, Nisk does not have the empowered speed anymore. So he can't disengage for free and then rack up bold, walk into the font. Nephrite Guardian constricts, so that Nisk is kind of screwed now. I mean, it's 5 defense, which is going to take a while to eat through, even for someone with Maxeric's damage. But it will eventually mean its death. I would think, though, that once it survives this coming turn, he'll probably just walk away, and settle for having diverted Akko's resources quite a bit. But he is contesting with that Imp now, and the Imp is going to live. Like, Markus only has 2 passive champs for the moment to help defend. Is that a lower beast of Sheol? God damn, Akko. When was the last time you saw a lower beast of Sheol in play? For me, it's been like years. Literal years. Lower beast is not that great anymore. He has Psychic Amped. I mean, Spell Charged is kind of good in Underdepths because you like to spam a lot of AoE spells. But into IS, like with the spell resistance bonus, probably not a good thing to have. And there's no way Markus doesn't get the kill on this Pit Dragon here. Like, he's got spells, right? He's Iron Fist. He has this kill. Even though, well, he doesn't actually need it because the defense reduction from Blood Frenzy. So Fault Breaker smashes that dragon to pieces. And, I mean, like, if I were Akko there, I would maybe... What could I have done to prevent that? Like, there's really nothing. Like, you could Masochism in theory, but, like, why? Like, that wouldn't do anything because you still couldn't kill the Fault Breaker. Akko is trying to do the right thing, though, putting down some alt damage. But I would say he's slowly losing this game. He does have the Votave in the back, reducing cooldowns by 2, so, you know, maybe he's trying to play the long game. His Imp is about to die, triggering that again. But, I mean, this is the thing, like, 2 cooldown reduction on all your demons, like, that's just not a good enough bonus to justify that relic, right? Because 2 cooldown, like, what use has he gotten out of it so far, right? He's lost a Pit Dragon, he's lost an Informant, and a Priestess. That's 6 cooldown reduction total, but it doesn't affect anything except your runes that are already on cooldown. So really, he's only gotten, what, 4 uses out of it? Like 4 cooldown reduction total, because Priestess death didn't affect anything. It doesn't affect, you know, the champion that just died. And, I mean, even if, like, in the best case scenario, it doesn't provide enough benefit. Like, you'd have to be in a losing position already to justify it. And if you're in a losing position as Underdepths, you're probably not going to come back. Underdepths kind of has to always be snowballing toward a winning position in order to come out on top. Even with the Brain Dead, you know, meta, super aggro Underdepths builds. But that Imp trying his best to last in that font. I mean, the Grobel will eventually catch up to him. And then, you know, the Engineer can also help pin, even though it has, you know, Defenseless. But Maxeric going to get the kill here. Onto that Nisk, thanks to Constrict. I mean, Akko could... And that's only 1 death, though, so Dark Summon's still not active for Akko. But maybe now, like, maybe Nephri Guardian can help, can, like, sort of drag Maxeric along to that top font. Who knows, and maybe help Bodyguard like he made. If Akko can force a fight around here, keep Nephri Guardians safe, and still within relocate range. Yeah, I could maybe see it. Gall Rune too, dude. What is this deck supposed to be? Blood Frenzy 3 as well, and Power Attack. So he's running max cost upgrades on all his champions, it looks like. I think actually Portal is the cheaper one on Maxeric, and definitely Constrict is the cheapest on Nephri Guardian. It's kind of sad how Nephri Guardian doesn't have any upgrades that really synergize with its role. Like Constrict breaks Bodyguard, Tremor and Binding Chains, I believe also. Like Tremor never used to break Bodyguard, but for some reason it does now, and I don't know why. Like it wasn't changed in the patch notes or anything, it just does, and that's kind of unfortunate. And on its other upgrade line, I mean, the Hunter abilities are nice, but they don't trigger on redirected damage from Bodyguard. So you're really not getting anything out of it by using its key ability. So Fault Breaker, you're going in for a smash on that Lower Beast of Sheol. I would definitely not. I would pass on Lower Beast. Gallrune, though, I mean, damn, that tongue. But yeah, Fault Breaker smashes up that Lower Beast. He couldn't get the charge off because of the cliffs in the way. But I mean, yeah, again, Markus slowly building up, protective on his protectors. And Illuminate. These things did get a nerf, I believe, in the recent patch, just a minor cost increase. But they are still really good units in constructs. I mean, look at these stats for 75 Nora. These are not terrible stats. Of course, that is with boost as well and an engineer around. But of course, when are you not going to have an engineer around in constructs, right? They go together like bread and jam. So Gallrune moving up, standing there menacingly. Again, more physical damage though, so like I don't know how he's going to deal with that 75 HP Fault Breaker. I would assume a Retribution, like even with the IS bonus, Retribution into a Vol Magical champion will do a significant amount of damage. And yeah, other than that, like he needs like a Grimlick or something. He's a Grimlick or a Shockbow even. He needs Demonologist would be nice because, you know, Vol Magic. But he is not deploying the right stuff. I don't know what he's running, but he needs something like that. A Demolish on the War Banner. Huh. Okay. Sure, whatever you want. It isn't Demolish like 40 Nora now? So he used 40 Nora, or maybe it's 35. I'm pretty sure it's actually 40, because I know Demolish and Erode were given the same price to make them identical, basically. But Demolish, 40 Nora for a 25 Nora War Banner kill does not really seem worth it. It's, like, if he was going to get a kill on the other side of the map, that would have been a big brain play. but he did not. He just used it to use it, basically. So 40 Nora down the drain. And, I mean, the Imp's not going to live for more than another 2 turns. Like, even, like, there's no way it can get away. Like, it just gets pinned by these guys. And, Lower Beast of Sheol does an entangle and moves off. Of course, Faultbreaker, being the Titan that he is, does not get ensnared. So, yeah, Protector, yeah, Markus will even kill it this turn, because 10 from the Protector that he moves over, then Grobel can get a hit. And I would maybe even, like, send that Grobel. Was that a lava trap too? God. that was not a very good turn's use of Nora by Okko. But he does get the kill. Markus does get the kill on the Imp. Not able to get the globe. He did do one good thing and left the Imp over the rock terrain, like this impassable stuff here, so that Markus cannot get the globe. But I mean, here, like, Grobel Pile Driver could just move bot, threaten to contest with a relic. And then, you know, up here, Markus could work towards securing mid. Like, at this point, like, he could just sit that fucking gargoyle in statue form in mid, and Okko would be like, yeah, I can't do anything, because it's immune physical. But this is absolutely why you want to build a deck with a lot of different attack types. Because otherwise, just one rune could counter your entire strategy, and it would be awful. But the Lower Beast actually has shielded, so he can't be, like, hammer struck or anything. Which I'm sure is kind of a big deal here for Markus. If with the Hammer Strike coming in, he could have definitely got the kill from Charge. Because it would have decreased his defense. Heavy Charger would have done more. Gargoyle would have done more. There's an Earthquake, not quite able to finish off, but the Aura will spell its death at the end of the turn. So Shielded, see, this is why you take Spell Resistance over Shielded. Because whenever I have the choice, I usually take Spell Resistance. Just because I think there are a lot of times when AoE spells are, you know, more common than single target spells. If you're in a faction like, if you're against a faction like Iron Fist, for example, you can always bet they'll be running Hammer Strike. Usually they'll run Might of Iron Fist. And if you're against KF, or FS, or let's see, Shattered Peaks, they usually use Echo Chambers, but all the other factions usually use AoE spells over a single target. FW is an exception. They tend to have like Soul Banes and Essence Drains and stuff instead. But other than that, the other factions definitely tend to favor AoE spells as their finishers. So Galrune, kind of at a loss here. Like he could maybe go for the Tinker, but like he can't beat that Vault Breaker. And yeah, Maxeric just sitting pretty. He doesn't have like Set Ablaze or anything, so no relocate Set Ablaze on that Vault Breaker. And yeah, I mean, Markus is positioning well. He's keeping his engineers safe, keeping his ranged units behind, the Vault Breaker. And oh wow, he is actually running She-Wolf Firebow. All right, so we're going to see a 24 damage fire hit here onto, I'm assuming he's going to hit the Tinker. Like, you got to hit the Tinker, right? Come on, man. Exile on his Nephri Guardian. Okay, so there's loyalty, so now we're going to get a 26 damage. All right. That was a little based, I'm not going to lie. She-Wolf Firebow into exile for a kill on the Tinker. You got to give him credit for that, and that does give him the Dark Summons. So, I mean, he can beset the Vault Breaker. The Hunted will be kind of helpful in dealing with that Vault Breaker. Now, I'm assuming, I'm assuming Bodyguard is still usable, which is why he's running Exile. But, Exile? I haven't seen Exile. That's another rune. Okko's deck is like fucking 2011 days under depths. Aside from, the altar. He's got Exile, and, he's running Gall runes. Gall runes actually didn't used to be that bad. I mean, in the ye old days, you could run them for like 90 Nora, and they just smash everything with Helm of Chaos, and then you'd shatter it later once Blood Frenzy triggered, and you could do like one round a shrine. But it was not a strategy that was meant to last. And Markus is probably sitting there thinking, what the fuck did I just witness? But I mean, there's no reason to be concerned, really. He lost the Tinker, but his Vault Breaker is still here. You could walk into that font, maybe, but you can get double hit by Maxeric. I'd still walk into the font, but because it's not like Okko has anything there defending it. Maxeric could be set back into the font, but I mean, you'd have mid on lock. You could like stone form your gargoyle and play around Galrune. And but I mean, Okko is definitely still fighting. He's not given up yet. I'd like to see that gargoyle threaten the side font, maybe. And then maybe the crabs go for the top of the relic. But it looks like Markus for now is just going to play it nice and solid. Trying to get the kill on that Nephrite Guardian in the back. And I guess I'll give Soul Sift now. When did that happen? I feel like did it always give Soul Sift? No, that was not a recent buff, but it was definitely a change that happened. So now 20% of the Guardian's cost. It's not much, but you know, it's something. And all these guys now have loyalty because of it. Krabs, Mr. Krabs going in to swindle that Galrune out of his money. And Minister, so we're probably going to see a battle drum here in the following turns. Markus goes with the cheap upgrade, Annex. Ugh, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like Annex. I think like it's good for, you know, a cheap battle drum unit to have like really cheap upgrade, but it's basically a waste of an upgrade in a lot of cases. Ooh, 1 space of Shrine Deployment Zone. It's like 1 proc of Necrosis, right? I mean, on some maps it can help. Like if you deploy an Annex unit first on like the Forsaken Waste 5 font map, you can deploy right into your second font, and it's okay, that's something. But it's basically only, let's be real, you only really use it to make in 69 Nora. Nice. And, you know, you can still battle drum and do his job. But Resistance Magical 3 is definitely my preferred upgrade. Just for more combat-oriented, you know, Minister that I can sit around and, you know, take pot shots with at range 3 with. But we'll see what Galrune decides to do about that Krabs. He can one-shot it. I mean, it's not a big deal, but I feel like the Galrune will sacrifice its life doing so. Because the Protector is in, not quite in double hit range. But it will get a hit for Illuminate, and then, you know, Fault Breaker can charge, and then Gargoyle can double hit. So yeah, that Galrune's kind of dead, no matter what. Oh yeah, it's being bodyguarded though, but even still, 12 HP on the bodyguard doesn't really mean much. I would even think that Markus could like do another Earthquake or something to get rid of the bodyguard first. And then just one round the Galrune after with the battle drum. But the Deep Elf Priestess coming in here, probably going to be a little bit late to the party, relocating the Galrune out of harm's way. But we'll see what Markus decides to do. Does he have Soften on his Veil Walker? No, he has Tariff. That'll kind of hurt for the one rounding, but Tariff is a great ability regardless. And still nothing happening. Bot that Grobel. Oh yeah, the Grobel did manage to get the globe. Was that space not impassable? I thought it was. I swear I clicked on that Grobel last time and it showed that space was impassable. I guess it was not. But Grobel, I guess, can, you know, maybe, I think Markus has forgotten about it. I think he's like totally focused on this fight up here. Because he didn't move it last turn, or well, I guess the turn before. But the Megalith comes down and, Markus. Markus, you and your good stuff. I know, like, Megalith is great. I mean, there's no real way around it. You gotta run Megalith if you're playing Constructs. I just, I feel dirty running it because it's such a good champion. But what was that? He does a Magic Beam on one of his Sentinel. No, he did it on the Engineer, yeah. So he granted the Magic Beam to the Engineer for some additional damage, taking out that Bodyguard. Well, putting him down to 3, I should say. But Markus is going to get 2 Tariff procs here, one from the Guardian and then one from the Galrune, mitigated slightly by the Soul Sift. But, you know, meanwhile, Alter Votive in the back, derp, churning out champions. But 15 HP, man, I really wanted to see that Galrune wreck some face. I mean, you get the She-Wolf's Firebow kill, so you got to give him some credit. But yeah, Markus just smashes that and then probably charges the Priestess, and that'll be the end of the game. So well played to both, and we'll see everyone in the next one.